Alrighty, guys, and welcome back to the Basketball Fix and the Game Day Squad podcast, the official podcast of Game Day Squad. I am Josh Higgins, your host, and as always, I am joined by Mr. Jeremy Dark. Again, we'll make sure it's always flipped on this side as well, but to my right on there, but probably to my left the way you're watching it. But Jeremy, mate, nonetheless, how are you?
I'm just as dyslexic as you, Josh, so don't worry. We're good.
Yes, it's good, mate. It's been obviously a busy week as well. Hectic start to the week. These Mondays are getting more and more short, it feels like, with bloody Wednesday games around the corner and Ignite Cup games. Exciting, but if you're working and following and doing everything around the NBL, for lack of a better word, it's a fucking pain in the ass, to be completely honest with you. So we'll nonetheless get this one out of the way and have
a win.
Episode.
Start off the episode with a win, huh?
Good old NBL basketball.
Can't wait to listen to more, Josh. It's going to be a great episode.
Obviously, an exciting episode nonetheless, though, coming up as well. So we've got a couple of, we'll go through quickly some of the biggest scorers from the round that was 8 games last week. So we won't go through every single game. We'll go through a couple of the big games. And then from there, we will look ahead to who are the must-haves coming in to round number 5 and look at some of the games as well. So I think what we'll do, Jez, is we'll jump straight into it as well. Add you back into the stage there, my friend. There we go. Now, we'll jump into, obviously, before we get into our teams, some of the matches from last week. And I guess there was probably no bigger match last week than Parker Jackson Cartwright. 20 points, 17 assists. Now, in terms of Game Day Squad points, 109 points in that particular game. Massive performance. It was incredible against the Illawarra Hawks. I can see Mr. Ryan Tucker in the comment section there saying, Hawkies, baby. You still went 1-1 and you lost to the Hawks. To the New Zealand Breakers. I did get that right there as well. So 109 Game Day Squad points. Absolutely incredible. Karim Lopez was incredible. 62 with his 16 points, 9 rebounds and 2 assists with the 4 steals and the 2 turnovers as well. And also JaVale McGee, who's been an absolute revelation, it must be said, to start the season with 41 points as well. So really, really good performers there. Now we'll jump into the second game, Jez. I'm going to let you go with this one as well. Obviously, Xavier Cooks was the biggest scorer to start the round for the Sydney Kings.
Yeah, absolutely. It was good to see him get a score. He might have maybe made his way into my team after that as well. So we'll see a little bit later on. Good to see. But still some disappointing scores in there as well with some of the key guys. But I think when you're looking at it, are you expecting more from Kendrick Davis than maybe what we've gotten so far?
Shit ton more. Yeah, I think it's been disappointing to say the least. I think he's been very disappointing because they've brought him in as the scoring guard, and I'd love to see a change up over the next couple of weeks. From Game Day Squad, because he's not playing point guard anymore. He's playing shooting guard. I'd love to see a mid-season change up. So yeah, he's been disappointing in terms of Game Day Squad. Now I don't think he still hasn't been the best in terms of like NBL actual basketball as well. So, he might be averaging around 20 points per game, but the assists and the rebounds and everything as well has gone quite down for Kendrick Davis. So, yeah, I've been disappointed by him. I've also been disappointed by Matthew Dellavedova. In this particular game against Melbourne United, the 5 personal fouls just killed my team as well. He still had 12 points, the 3 rebounds, and the 7 assists. But 5 personal fouls, we know what they do to you. They take points off you very quickly as well. Hello, Melissa, in the stream as well. We'll get to your question very, very shortly. And also a couple other big performances. Milton Doyle, 16 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Incredible for him in Melbourne United's win over the Sydney Kings, which was, I think,
and Jesse Edwards
as well.
I made the big mistake of thinking that Fabs was going to get some more time, but with Jesse Edwards playing so well, he just didn't see enough minutes because
it was 17 points for Fabs.
Yeah, so Edwards is just emerging as probably one of the big time players in the league, and certainly for Melbourne United.
Yeah, we were talking about this, Jai and I, NBL Pleb, on our Fox show. And yeah, like when you look at Jesse Edwards, he's a top 3 new import in the league, probably behind JaVale McGee, Bryce Hamilton, maybe John Brown III. But what he's produced, the 22 points. Oh, 100%. Yeah, the Flying Dutchman. I don't think you can't really fly into the NBL season with a nickname like that, but somehow he is. So yeah, nonetheless, incredible. 56 points for him. The big game, obviously, the LA 36ers taking on the Tasmania Jack Jumpers. The LA 36ers won this game by 9 points. Your Jackies, mate, went down to the Adelaide 36ers, but it was Mr. Bryce Cotton once again, 29 points, 9 assists, 2 rebounds, 3 steals, which is absolutely everywhere for 74 game day squad points as well. And his running partner. Have you been surprised by Isaac Humphrey's start of the season? 24 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, and 1 block in this game. He's been relatively impressive for the Adelaide 36ers.
Yeah, 100%. It was all about how I guess Adelaide were going to adjust with the late withdrawal of Montrezl Harrell. And yep. I think everybody's eyes were on Zylan Cheatham more than they were on Isaac Humphreys and what sort of role he was going to play and how much he was going to step up. But Humphreys, when Harrell was missing last year, he was extremely good for Adelaide. And I think everyone just sort of forgot that. And he spent a little bit more time on the bench or was just out of rhythm. But he knows his role much more this year now than he did last year. And it's obviously helped his basketball a hell of a lot.
Yeah, no, definitely, mate. You bang on there as well. And I guess for the Tasmania Jack Jumpers, it's been the 2 consistent contributers for them, Bryce Hamilton and obviously Will Magnay as well. I've been disappointed with Tiger Campbell. We were hyping him, probably me a bit more. I'll cop the brunt of it. But only 10 fantasy points in this one, 8 points in the actual game with 2 assists, 2 personal fouls, 2 turnovers. He's been, for a lack of a better word, a bit horrible, a bit trashy. Yeah. He's not finding his form, is he?
No, I think we thought he was going to be more of a deliverer. I thought we expected maybe him not to be scoring a whole heap of points, but you would expect his assists, especially when it comes to game day. You wanted to see much more assists or consistently getting sort of that 5+ assists per game, and that's like absolutely not happening. This game was tough, and Josh Bannon as well was a little bit disappointing. Wanted the banana man to be putting up more consistent numbers on both rebounds and points. So it's a shame. And how did Bryce Cotton? Bryce Cotton, he scored 7 in his second game. Why couldn't he only score 7 against the Jackies?
Well, they didn't have a good enough defensive scheme to slow down Bryce Cotton, it must be said. But I want to quickly put a little spotlight on Nick Ravacevic as well. Now, Adelaide 36's import is still finding his feet, coming off the bench for them. He had 26 game day points in this particular game against the Jackies, which included 8 actual points, 7 rebounds, 4 steals, 4 turnovers, 3 personal fouls. So obviously the 4 turnovers and the 3 personal fouls, disappointing. But to have, 4 steals, and he's a big man. This is like a power forward center. Obviously with the 7 rebounds and everything as well. I think he's going to be a bit of a game day squad player later on during the season as well, once he establishes himself. But it's very interesting. The top 4 were massive. It was the shooting guard center combinations for both teams, and then a major drop off after that as well. We'll skip the Perth Wildcats game against the Cairns Taipans to a degree. Dylan Windler, Joe Lawala-Chua, probably not too many surprises there. Maybe Alex Higgins-Titcher, who stuffed the stat sheet, 7 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 steals, 2 personal fouls, and 1 turnover for his 52 points, which was impressive.
To skip that game, mate.
Hey? Oh, we'll skip it. We'll skip
that game.
And Jack McVeigh, though, has been disappointing as well. I think that's the biggest story out of that game. The 9 points, the 8 rebounds, the 6 assists, the 3 personal fouls, and 3 turnovers. Not too great. But like I said, we will skip that game instead of going into full depth as well. But the next game is where we got a little bit excited. There was a bit of a change-up. Now, for the Illawarra Hawks, if you aren't aware, if you've been living under a rock and you follow the NBL, Ja'Cory McLaughlin was sacked. Now, all reports from that Code Sports article are completely false. Disappointing. We're not going to go into that anyways. But Tyler Harvey, though, just wound back the clock. It was incredible to see a career high in assists, 10 assists in that game, 22 points, 7 rebounds, 10 assists, 4 steals, 4 turnovers. Jez, mate, what did you make of him? And I guess, obviously, we've got to take this with a grain of salt. It was against the Brisbane Bullets. Shout out to Ryan, obviously, with, the easy win, I guess, here to kickstart your season. But he looked incredible, and I think he's going to have a big impact until they can find a replacement import for Ja'Cory McLaughlin.
Yeah. But I just think it's all about Tyler Harvey, really, isn't it? Because, he's had to put the Hawks on his shoulder, obviously, with Will Hickey not being not being there. So Harvey's had to be the scorer and obviously the delivery. He's had to do it all. And I don't know, he is really that heart and soul of Illawarra at the moment. Like, I know he's been there for a while, but he's really sort of standing up and playing however he needs to play for them to be successful. And, maybe this first win, the easy win, is just what you need to get their season going again. And he's going to, consistently scoring and, 10 assists, like phenomenal.
Yeah, it's definitely bonkers as well. And I want to give a special shout out to the next two guys. Lamar Patterson, one, it's exciting seeing him back in the NBL, a former All-NBL first teamer, I think, a few years ago as well, and then kind of went out of favour with the NBL. He's back in as an import replacement player, playing with obviously Javon Freeman-Liberty, who's also been released, mutually agreed release there as well for the Brisbane Bullets. I don't think it will be the last change, though, for the Brisbane Bullets. Keep that one in mind going forward as well. But Casey Prather as well. This guy, we spoke about him being probably a lock all season long if he can stay healthy. 28 actual points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 3 turnovers, 4 personal fouls. 59 game day squad points, coming off a concussion as well. So there was rumors he wasn't going to play this particular game. He came out and played and absolutely dominated as well. So again, we saw MVP Prather last year. It was exciting to see him back in the league and obviously, enjoying his time and playing consistent basketball. And JaVale McGee with his 13 points, 12 rebounds and 3 assists was also incredible. Now, obviously, I think the biggest shock of the round was Bryce Cotton. Just the 12th time in his 334 game career he has been held to under double digits, right? It was an incredible masterclass. And I'm just going to keep scrolling down here. 7 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 2 turnovers, 2 personal fouls. So Bull Qual, massive kudos to him. When you look at obviously Bull Qual, only the 12 game day squad points, but realistically, this is a 75-point game, the way he stopped Bryce Cotton and the impact as well, and obviously led the Sydney Kings to an incredible game. But looking at obviously the top scorers, Flynn Cameron, he's been a revelation, 15, 8 and 7 with 4 personal fouls for his 59. But did anyone else surprise you, Jez? Obviously, Kawat Noi, 29 points in this game was impressive as well.
Yeah, obviously Quat Noi's 3-point shooting, that was the difference there, wasn't it? Like, I think he went 4 from 7, I believe, in that game. So it's something that we've said with Sydney, if they want to be successful, they need to be able to drop a few more 3 balls. And I think it definitely seems to be around if Quat Noi can sink him or not, because nobody else is really, standing up and doing that. So another good game for Xavier Cooks. I think consistency is what you want to see when you're picking your game day squad teams, because you want to make sure you at least get some sort of decent score if they're playing twice. But Xavier Cooks put in 2 good scores this week. So important for us when you're picking your team, that you can rely on him maybe getting some more action and getting into NBL 26 compared to the first few weeks.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting because, I don't know, something still scares me with Xavier, but 12, 8 and 5 is a pretty good starting base as well for him. So it's going to be very interesting. And Zylan Cheatham, a guy who continues to stuff the stat sheet, 8 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, and 2 blocks in this particular game. But again, though, the personal fouls and the turnovers have been hurting him a lot. I don't think he's fully adjusted back to the NBL just yet, but the way he's performing and producing, I think he is a must-watch if you do have guys like Zylan Cheatham, maybe as a higher rarity, as some sort of a pod play going forward as well. So I think they've got a game against the Southeast Phoenix this week. I think that could be a good matchup for him to try to take some advantage of Malik Lewis or even a John Brown III as well. And the second last game of the round was between the New Zealand Breakers, Southeast Phoenix. Sam Menenga has been a bit of a revelation the last few games. 29 points, 11 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 2 personal fouls, 66 game day squad points. Was super incredible. We both flagged John Brown III last week. It was one of your pod plays last week. He produced in a good way, 55 points, 13 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 2 turnovers, 1 block. I was expecting more steals, but I think obviously you're happy with his performance, I guess, with 55 points.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we still don't know exactly what Southeast Melbourne are and how they're going to be playing. So I think once we get a few more games under our belt from the Phoenix, we'll be able to, I guess, adjust and go, okay, how do they match up against different teams and who are the locks in those weeks from them? But certainly points. And your boy, Nathan Sobey, mate, still putting up consistent game day squad scores. He's one of the best.
I can't keep hating. I just can't keep hating. 18,
No.
4, 7, 1, 1, and 1 across the board as well. So he was impressive. And again, yeah, he's been a staple for this team. I think the way he has sort of fought with Josh King and like they've worked together to establish this role and connection on the court and off the court, it's been incredible. And I want to give a shout out to Owen Foxwell as well.
Yeah.
Parker walks away with 9 points and 9 assists with 7 rebounds. But I don't think statistically he felt like he had that big of a game because Owen Foxwell wore him like an absolute glove. He had himself 13 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and 55 game day squad points as well. So, 54 game day squad points. So that was incredible for him. Geordie Hunter, if he can stay out of foul trouble at the 3 in this game, I think he'll have a big season and big patches throughout this season as well. I'm just trying to look down the board here as well. But Isaiah Brockington, after a pretty good game against the Illawarra Hawks in the first game of the round for the New Zealand Breakers, he only has 5 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist in this game against South East Melbourne Phoenix. So not really living up to the hype and expectations. And the Melbourne United Cairns Taipans game, to round out it quickly, we're probably not going to look too much into this game. It was a massive blowout. The game day squad points kind of reflect that when you look across the board with how many points were actually scored. Holy shit, though. Look down the bottom. Sorry for my language, but -7 for Rain Smith, -13 for Admiral Schofield. That is bonkers. 5 personal fouls, 5 turnovers, 1 block, 2 rebounds, 2 points, -13. 13. Yeah, that's what I think about Anthony Hudson down at Tasmania with Buddy Franklin. So, yeah, I'm happy we scrolled down a little bit there because that is also a good little one to look out. But, Jez, mate, how about you grab your team up on your screen, get it all ready, and I'll jump into my teams quickly here. So, I have made the change. Now, I needed to see a little bit more from Xavier Cooks, and I have seen it over the last couple of rounds. That one game, the bigger game, 72 game day squad points. The other game was around in the low 50s as well. So I'm going to bring him in. Like I mentioned, Casey Prather, JaVale McGee, Bryce Cotton, Dylan Windler most likely won't leave my team this season, so I have got them. And I've still elected to keep Kendrick Davis with Parker Jackson Cartwright backing him up. So 109 game day squad points as a bronze player is bloody berserk, to be completely honest with you. So that is what I've got for my starting 5. Then I've got Dylan Windler, Christian Doolittle. Again, let me just make this very clear for people playing at home. You need to load up on Perth Wildcat players, especially Christian Doolittle, Dylan Windler, and also Joe Lawala-Chul. They play the Brisbane Bullets in the first game of the round. And Brisbane are leaking points. They're leaking game day squad points as well, as a matter of fact. So I think this will be a game where Christian Doolittle just bounces back. He'll play on Casey Prather. That'll be a great matchup. And I can see him having a very easy double-double in this game. Joe Lawala-Chul, I think, will play very well against underperforming Tyrell Harrison. And Dylan Windler has been a revelation this season as well. And then, as you can see, Parker Jackson Cartwright and Tyler Harvey to wrap it up. Jez, mate, we're going to move on to your screen here quickly. Run us through your team and why.
So, yeah, on the Xavier Cooks train at the moment as well. Dylan Windler, yeah, definitely going to be there, going to put up some big points in that first game. Parker Jackson Cartwright, I don't think you can't sleep on him, or you can't even sort of second guess him now, which maybe we were at the start. JaVale McGee, a lock. Bryce Cotton, wonder how he bounces back from that low-scoring performance last game out. You wouldn't want to be facing Bryce Cotton this week, I don't think, because he'll be certainly in a mood. And then, everything's looking starting to look a little bit similar, Josh. So I've got Cheatham. I've gone for John Brown as my second power forward. Kendrick Davis still there, Joe Lawala-Chul and Bryce Hamilton. I think with Doolittle, it can be a little bit hit and miss. I don't know 100% I'm as confident as you that he's going to pop a big score, because I think it's such a job to shut down Casey Prather, because if you shut down Casey Prather, you shut down the Brisbane Bullets completely. So that could be taking up a lot of his time, but it could see him getting some more rebounds or some blocks or something that could boost his score. But yeah, I think we're both in agreement, I think, with a lot of how your team should be looking at the moment. Yeah. And the Brisbane Bullets, man, if they're going to leak, I backed the under in that game against the Illawarra Hawks, because the Hawks hadn't been able to score over 90 points all year. And then they scored, I think, 68 points in the first half. So there's definitely plenty of points available if you're playing the Brisbane Bullets.
Yeah, I think it's a scary matchup. And when I look at Christian Doolittle, so I've just put his stats up. His highest game day squad points for this year is 40. and that was last round. So sorry, round 3, I should say, where he had 17 points, 9 rebounds and 4 assists. With the 4 turnovers and the 1 personal foul. But once he starts to learn how to play with Joe Lawal-Chul, that's going to be a dangerous combination as well.
Yeah.
Interesting, though, with both faded Jack McVeigh, who I was very hot on the start of the year. You were quite hot on Jack McVeigh as well, but he just hasn't been able to perform to the level in which they have. But is there anyone, I'm just going to quickly have a look at
one of you boys at Fox Sports that flagged that just he's not getting shots. He's not shooting.
Yeah, so, today on the talking points, he's only averaging 10 field goal attempts per game, which is just bonkers.
Which is nuts. And obviously he's going to get shut down or tagged a little bit more than others. But I think you got to work out how to get Jack McVeigh open and get him in shooting positions and make sure he's getting the ball and at least put it in his hands early. And if you're hot, it doesn't matter who's marking you, you'll sink buckets. But, and then adjust from that. But it just feels like they're not really working there at the moment in Cairns, unfortunately, like we all had hoped for the Taipans.
Yeah, definitely, mate. So obviously, looking at your team, difference to mine, obviously Bryce Hamilton you've elected to go with. I've gone with the Tyler Harvey combination, so that's going to be an interesting one as well. We both haven't got Nathan Sobey as good as he's been in terms of a player fading out as well. So he's another guy who could look to bring in. Jesse Edwards, again, another guy who we've both been pleasantly surprised by this start to the season.
Which is probably pretty crazy considering they're taking on Brisbane.
Yeah, and then New Zealand, I believe, after that as well, potentially. No, sorry, the Illawarra Hawks. So that could be the
Melbourne.
hard part.
You're right. Melbourne play Brisbane and then they play New Zealand. So Jesse Edwards might have to sneak his way into this team, but it's hard. Who do you take out?
Yeah, that's the hardest part. This is what we're having the most struggle with, obviously, every single week and in terms of making our teams. Now, I'm just going to quickly switch back to my screen here, Jez, for one last time. Just going to go through quickly, again, for people who play. I was worried
you were going to start opening one of these fucking rare packs again and pull out a major bomb.
No more packs for the moment, mate, but let me just quickly refresh. So, again, little glitch here quickly, but we'll figure this one out. I might just quickly jump back to this screen and we'll have a bit of a chin wag for a second as I load up my screen in the background. But again, I want to.
In the comments early
there was a question in the comments. So we've got Melissa here. Obviously, thanks for joining into the stream and listening to the show so far. I also have a bit of a chin wag. She's asked us, will Cooks have another good round or is it silly to chase points? Jez, what do you reckon? Obviously, we've both elected to go with him, but is it silly for us to be going for him?
No, obviously not. Otherwise, we wouldn't have done it. Perth Wildcats, it's like that matchup's a pretty tough one for Cooks in reality of it. I think maybe, Melissa might be onto something there because they have a little bit of a break though. They don't play until Sunday. And it is against Perth, but it is going to be a tough contest for him, obviously against Joe Lawal-Chul and Christian Doolittle, likely defending down low there. So it could be a tough one, but I don't know. That makes me think.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's hard because again, you're going for recency bias. That's the whole point with fantasy sports though. It does get frustrating, but I believe this.
But he can go up against anyone. On his day, we know what Xavier Cooks is all about, and he can definitely compete with the best of them in the competition. So
yeah, no, I couldn't agree more there as well. But just so everyone can see as well, Champion Squad is up on the screen. Obviously, again, you are not spoiled for choice sometimes early on in the season, especially when you're building a collection as well. So I've got Jack McVeigh, Isaac Humphries, Dylan Windler, who scored 99 with the diamond multiplier last week as well. Matthew Dellavedova, like I mentioned, want to see more out of him, especially for a guy in which I have his all-star card as well, which is a 1.35 multiplier. Then I've got Bryce Cotton, who scored 96. Alex Higgins-Titcher, 73 last week. Rob Baker, 34. Parker Jackson-Cartwright, 142 points last week. Incredible. Sam Menenga and Milton Doyle. So this week, I've got to bring Casey Prather back in. So that is probably going to be a direct swap for Alex Higgins-Titcher, who obviously had a good week last week. But again, we're going for more class over anything else, but probably not really fading anyone of interest too much from there. But quickly before we wrap up today's episode, obviously a bit of news in the NBL. Javon Freeman-Liberty, no longer in the NBL. Ja'Cory McLaughlin, no longer in the NBL. They are the 5th and 6th imports this season to leave the NBL. We are only in round 4. So incredible amount of turnover so far in the NBL, whether it's contracts, play styles, being too far away from home, whatever the case is. There's just something going on in the water, and we have to put down to why and figure out why going forward. But nonetheless, though, it has been
What would an
incredible.
NBL season be without import drama?
That is the best thing. I think it is, obviously depending on the situation and how they leave. Like I look at the Ja'Cory McLaughlin one and it's like that was inevitable, but it was reported poorly. I look at the Javon Freeman Liberty one. That is a very interesting one. It's not, there's a bit more that until meets the eye there, when you're putting 2 and 2 together and stuff as well. But in terms of injury news, much of the same. Not many new injuries. Obviously, Sam McDaniel's still out. Obviously, David Johnson's still out. TJ Starks is in for the Tasmanian Jack Jumpers we've seen over the last few weeks. So no real new injuries at all to say there on the injury front. But nonetheless, it is going to be an incredible round of NBL basketball. Round number 5, that is the end of the Game Day Squad episode number 6. And we'll be back next week to wrap up round number 4, I should say. Round number 4, round number 5. It's going so quick. I believe it's number 5. So it's going to be an incredible round nonetheless. It kicks off on Wednesday. Make sure you're ready bright and early. It's going to be an incredible Ignite Cup night. And then we go through all the way to Sunday, and we'll be back again next Monday with a game next Wednesday. But until next time, we hope you've gotten your basketball fix and also your Game Day Squad fix, and we'll see you next time.